Hello everyone, it's DuckFerren07. Today I'm playing a very exciting brew. I had great time with this one. It's Domain Saga. So the mana for this deck is very simple because almost everything is red mana. So Asmo is red mana, blasts, bolts, Intis and the cookbooks, of course, the artifacts, tribal flames also, and territorial Kavu. So we can play territorial Kavu sometimes even if it's not a 5-5, it can be a 4-4, even a 3-3 if we don't have other options, but it is a playable. Also tribal flames can be used in the early turns to kill a creature. It doesn't necessarily need to be 5 mana. 5 colors, sorry. So this is the reason why this deck and the mana base is working without much problems. I played just a single league with it, but didn't have almost any problems with the mana base. The mana base worked perfectly. Even in games I didn't have the full domain, I was still good. And the good thing, a very nice thing also, I was able to play very effectively with the Blood Moon on the field, almost like it didn't exist. I had my forest to cast my Kavu if needed, and I didn't care that much about Saga. Saga was like the only disadvantage I experienced with Blood Moon on the field. I was not able to play my Sagas. Of course, it's a handicap, but it is not as big handicap as it would be for almost any other domain deck. So I was able to play out my hand without much problems, and I was very happy with how it played out, and we are going to see this in the video. Okay, so I did a great powerful league. In this video we are going to see, and having tribal flames plus bolt plus galvanic blast was just incredibly efficient. Also the pride spell bomb for additional burn. I was considering even playing additional burn spells in this list, as it was very effective in putting opponent down to 0 life with just using the burn spells. From the creatures we have only the most effective one, so the Asmo, of course, plus Inti in this type of decks creates a great card advantage, board advantage, whatever. These are excellent cards, the best cards you can play in the Saga decks like this one. And also territorial Kavu, the single best creature from the domain archetype, and also works very nicely with Inti, like drawing, discarding, exiles a card from the top with Inti for free for 0 mana, and the effects like that are really good with it. Okay, so, and a lot of these in this deck actually, like Cookbook, Wraith and Kavu, all exile a card with Inti for 0 mana, which is like provides incredible value and card advantage. On the sideboard we have some bindings and some Saga targets. In this league we are going to see I had 4 Leyline bindings in, but I noticed I mostly used 2 of my Leyline bindings, so I think I trimmed 1, but I think I would trim in favor of Tear Asunder, but I think I would almost like cut the third one too for the second Tear Asunder. That is something I'm still considering. Okay, so we are going to go through the video and see how this went. I think like the league was amazingly fun, one of the most fun decks I had, most fun I had with any deck in the last week at least. Okay, so let's check out. I had my fetches. I have Street Wraith plus Inti. Street Wraith is so good with Inti, it provides a really nice card advantage. Cycling the card, getting another one for free into exile. Thanks to my forest I was able to play the Inti and not paining myself too much. Okay, so now I have Inti. I have to be careful with Wraith because of the Bowmaster, but I'm expecting them to play something. I could also just cycle Street Wraith on my end step to be completely safe. Okay, but I did it on my opponent's end step, exiling the Galvanic Blast. So when I attack with Inti, I also get another trigger. I decided to just go for the Grist here because I get trample on Inti and I can finish it with the Galvanic Blast. And amazingly I exiled the Asmo too, so I was able to play Asmo, play the Cookbook, and then finish off the Grist with Galvanic Blast I exiled on the end of turn. Really good powerful turn. Okay, so Two Tribal Flames in my hand can really end the game quickly. Opponent just plays more mana dorks. I decide to discard the second Inti to discard card to get the one into exile. Unfortunately, it was all Chase Daredevil. No luck there getting the Daredevil. And I discarded the second cookbook. I was hoping to get another land to play both of my Tribal Flames. Opponent lets damage through, and this meant I'm able to play both of the Tribal Flames, putting my opponent on 2 life, and next turn I have Bolt to finish them up. And there's like no chance they can do anything significant on their turn. Even if they have like Yawgmoth, it doesn't really matter because they're on just 2 life. Opponent goes for the Grist, kills my Inti, but I have a Bolt to finish them up, and that is the game. Let's check out the game 2. Okay, so I boarded in, I had 4 Leyland bindings in, and I find a spot only for 3 of those, and that happened in most of situations, so that was the reason why I excluded the 4th one from the sideboard. I think I would bring in 3 of them in this matchup, and yeah, I think I don't need more than 3, but I'm also considering trimming down to 2. Okay, opponent had Agatha Soul Cauldron here, and yet that is a very good card for them. I had Tribal Flames Blast in my hand, so I was holding Blast until I hit Metalcraft. I had second Tribal Flames, and I was pretty happy with this. So I decided to go for Tribal Flames plus Cookbook. This means Tribal Flames and Galvanic Blasts next turn get me 9 damage, which is a lot. I'm still holding the Street Wraith. I don't want to cycle them when they have 2 mana up. No need. So I was able to get my Kavu here. I don't want to lose life. I'm already kind of low on life. My opponent got the Yawgmoth here. So this means even if I kill Yawgmoth, there's just no point in killing it because they have Agatha Soul Cauldron. So I'm just basically trying to make the Soul Cauldron as useless as possible. Maybe, yeah, opponent got on 5 here. And I have Galvanic Blast for 4 in my hand, so opponent is playing around the Galvanic Blast obviously. But I had, I was already low on life, they had a lot of damage on the field. So Galvanic Blast was not enough, I needed another top deck. So I went Blast Face, put them on 1 life. This means they can't sacrifice a creature on Yawgmoth ability or they die. And yeah, here I was able to get another territorial Kavu, which means I can maybe survive another turn to get me time to find another top deck. But opponent hardcast second Yawgmoth, giving them that 1 life they needed, and that was enough for them to combo, so I had to concede this one. That was game over. Let's check out the game 3. So of course, what I needed in this matchup is like a Graveyard Hate and the Leyland Bindings. So I really wanted like Pitting Needle, obviously. Stone of Eric, great against them. Also Nihil Spellbomb, usable. And yeah, here I got the Territorial Kavu on turn 2. I wanted to get my Triumph, that's why I didn't play Pitting Needle earlier. So now I have Kavu on the field, attacking, Pitting Needle a hand, Saga and removal. This is like really good example, really powerful hand. Also Territorial Kavu enabling Asmo is pretty sweet. I get the Cookbook, play my Saga, play both Needle and Cookbook. I was a bit afraid of Force of Figure here, but can't really play around it. I have 2 sagas and I have a lot of targets for a Force of Figure, so I just have to play it out. Opponent plays another Wall, but I have I was able to like play Inti here, then exile another card with Kavu for free, but I preferred just passing the turn, making large constructs and holding the Galvanic Blast. Here, for example, I have Galvanic Blast for Grist, so I can go Galvanic Blast, kill Grist immediately. Also made a big construct which can attack next turn. Again, similar situation. Again, I had the option to make construct or play Inti, but my hand was like pretty good here. I had a lot of options. I decided just to go attack with both of my creatures, exile the Grist from the graveyard in case they top deck Agata Soul Cauldron, something like that. Opponent kills my constructs with the Legion End. Legion End is like really good card for Yawgmoth against Rhinos and constructs. Okay, so now I have Inti plus Kavu. So when I attack with Kavu, discard the Sacred Foundry, I exile a card for free, and this ability is just so sweet. I also get to play the Asmo again, and then find another cookbook, and that's it. So as I said, the sideboard is clear. Binding plus these targets, Stone of Ferrec, Pitting Needle, and that is the game. And the match against Yawgmoth. Let's check out another win. We'll go through the wins first and then check out this only defeat. It was so close, this defeat. I thought the game is over, and then my opponent top decked. This should have been a 5-0 league. I was so impressed with this deck. It performed like really nicely, and it's so sad it didn't get that trophy, and it was like it was so close to it. That's why I was pretty sad about it. Yeah. Okay, so opponent goes for Night's Whisper here. This means I can just discard my Oval Chase, Daredevil, exile card for free. I got Asmo into exile, play the Asmo from the exile, get the cookbook, play cookbook. Then end of turn I can again start doing the Inti stuff. End step, discarding, getting another Asmo, passing the turn. My opponent, even if they find a removal here, I still have pretty good situation on the field. I get for another Inti ability. Opponent plays Bowmaster. Bowmaster is pretty useless here. They just use it to jump Inti. And I go Lightning Bolt face, play another Asmo just to get the cookbook trigger. Every cookbook brings me another card with Inti, so it's very valuable. End of turn, again I shock in because to play the Lightning Bolt and then do the cookbook ability immediately, exiling a land. The card advantage the Inti provides can be really sick. Okay, so here I got the Bolt and the land. This means I have lethal next turn, so my opponent has to do something relevant. And they play the One Ring. This means like I can't go Bolt face, but I can use the Bolt to kill the Orcish Bowmaster and have a pretty strong board state. I do the ability just to get the Inti. Unfortunately, I misplayed here, playing land before the ability, so I was not able to play the Urza Saga. It didn't really matter that much, because I had like 3 cookbooks now with Inti on the field. That is 3 cards on the next turn, high chances of getting the burn spell, and I got it here immediately. Again, got a land, got a blast. Yeah, the Inti value is just incredible. I got the Saga and got a blast and another land. So they need to either gain life or play another ring. But I can play blast. Sorry, I had mana to play blast immediately in the upkeep to finish this game, and that was it. So let's check out the game 2. Okay, so what I did in a lot of games is trimmed two bolts, because bolts don't kill, give the least damage to the face, and they don't deal with Sheldred. So I trimmed two of the bolts. They also don't play a lot of other creatures that are bolt is relevant. So trimming bolts, trimming some of the artifacts like a Shadow Spear, a Pride Spell Bomb. I had better ones from the sideboard, better inclusions in that spots like Havar Mites. Okay, so also I included Leyline Bindings. Leyline Bindings are pretty sweet here, getting rid of the ring, getting rid of the Sheldred, and that is like the two most important cards I care about. Opponent has removal for Asmo. I have another one in hand, so I just play another one and get a second cookbook, third cookbook, or even fourth cookbook, I think. One is discarded. Opponent plays the Leyline of the Void, and I was able to attack with Asmo here. Territorial Kavu on the field, but opponent has Damnation to clear both of my creatures. I get another Kavu from the top, so that was okay. Urza Saga was also pretty sweet, but they had like Field of Ruins, so it didn't matter that much. I had to rely on drawing my burn spells. I spent this turn just getting back Asmo to hand, and yeah, at this point, when the game prolongs, I'm this much, and I don't have many great inclusions, and they can deal with my mana base using demolition fields. It doesn't hurt me that much with this build because most of my spells are like red anyway, or just basic play red and green. Okay, so I was able to I was planning on attacking with Asmo here, but opponent has the removal, which is alright. I still have another cow in hand. So in response to that ability, I use Asmo to kill it, and this way I get they don't gain life, and they were on 11, so that seemed like relevant. But they were able to use the Field of Ruin to get me out of the red mana, and this was now a big problem. I had Havar Might for a block and jump exile the Leyline. Opponent was on 0 cards in hand, so there was still hope, but opponent gaining life was pretty bad for me. I found the Leyline Binding, can't really play it at this moment. I have to wait. Yeah, but it was kind of unfavorable position. I needed top decks immediately, didn't get it, and now I got the Leyline Binding and got the Xander's Lounge, so I was able to start attacking my opponent. But in the meantime, they used the Cling of Dust to draw multiple cards and find the Karn from the top, and they were too high on their life total, and they got another one ring, and that was it. I just was not able to win through another Karn and one ring. I did find some impressive solutions here, like kill the Karn, exile the one ring, still had Bolt plus Blast in my hand. Yeah, but opponent got even crazier top decks, Damnation into Sheldred, Seal the Coffin, and that was it. So let's check out game 3. I had pretty decent draws, opponent had even better. Okay, so I kept a strange hand for a domain deck here, so all burn spells and Saga. This is pretty interesting, and it worked very well in most of the games I played. So top decking a cow here means I go for turn 2 cow definitely. Unfortunately, cow is not that great against Coffers because they play so much of these 1 mana removals. Now I was able to play my Saga and just start burning them to face. Started off with Tribal Flames. Next turn I can go Bolt, create constructs. Then on my turn I'll hopefully have Metalcraft, so I'll be able to go Galvanic Blast for 4. My opponent didn't find a Field of Ruin on time to deal with my Urza Saga, so I was able to create my constructs, which was pretty relevant here. They need a removal for each of those. I decided to go face immediately with Bolt, and opponent unfortunately has a lot of these life gain cards here, like March. When I top decked Kavu, I decided against making construct and just going Kavu plus Inti. Here my opponent finds the Sheldred. Unfortunately, the card I really have to find a quick solution for, and I did find Tribal Flames immediately. Maybe this was not a great decision. I think I should have maybe kept the Galvanic Blast in hand. I decided to cycle it for a counter here, try to find a playable card right away. I did find the land, which was good. Okay, so again, now with 4 mana, it's much better situation. I can go discard the Wooded Foothills, then get the free card from Inti. Opponent plays Bowmasters in response, but it's not relevant. It's not relevant because they can't kill any of my creatures, they can just jump. And I find the Havar Might. And yeah, so I had the Pitting Needle on the one ring, and I didn't play my Havar Might there. I decided to discard it to get another draw from Inti, try to find those burn spells. I did find Urza Saga, which was pretty good. And again, now when you have 6 mana like this, I think the best thing you can do is just to go discard with Kavu, and this way you get 2 cards, one with the Kavu ability, second with Inti, and I exiled the Tribal Flames with Inti, which was enough for lethal anyway they block, and that was it. That was the match against Mono Black. So let's check out match 3. Okay, so in the match 3 had a pretty nice turn 1 cycling Street Wraith into playing Asmo. Playing Asmo on turn 1 always feels good. Multiple options for turn 2 here. I decided to go Cookbook plus Bolt. I definitely didn't want them to discard my Cookbook, so I wanted to play that immediately. Then play Urza Saga plus Inti on turn 3. And unfortunately my opponent has Molten Collapse, extremely powerful card against decks like this. So the one thing about Inti is it's very funny when opponent does the Grief Scam when you have Inti on the field, because every time they discard you exile cards, so basically you don't lose almost anything. And my opponent was able to discard my entire hand, but in case you missed it, the Urza Saga is one of the best cards to play against Scam, and they can't really do anything against it. They can't discard it, they can't kill it, so you just make these large construct tokens, find a Shadow Spear, and they can't beat this, and that was game over. Okay, so let's check out game 2. Okay, so for this matchup, my sideboarding plan was to get rid of all Street Wraiths. Street Wraiths are kind of risky against Bowmaster. I often keep 2 of the Street Wraiths on the play, but on the draw they're kind of very risky, and you don't really have time to play it around Bowmaster. So I decided on the draw to get rid of all 4 of them. On the play I will probably keep 2. All Chase Daredevil I just trimmed one. Yeah, so here is a very good example how I was able to play around Blood Moon this entire game, basically no problems. Yeah, the problem is definitely my Kavu was 2-2 and not a 5-5, but that was the only problem I had with this. And I can play most of the other cards. I can even play the Tribal Flames for 2 damage. It's like it's like much worse, but doable. Okay, I go here for Inti ability. Opponent uses the Fatal Push in response. I get another Asmo. Um I get another Asmo, and I play another Asmo just to get that second cookbook. And yeah, so now I don't have much. I have a 2-2 Kavu and a 3-3 Asmo, but if they play a creature I can just kill it with Asmo. I have another one in my hand if needed. I have Pride Spellbomb, and I can just kill all their threats. They can't really use the Undying spells efficiently or anything else. And yeah, passing the turn, opponent only also has just a single swamp. And even if they try to play anything, I have like 5 foods and the price spellbomb to deal with it, so it's game over for the opponent. Okay, that is it. That is match 3. Let's check out the match 4. So the domain deck, which plays around Blood Moon without much problems, that is really like the dream for the domain. Okay, so starting with a pretty decent hand. Every time you have like Inti plus Street Wraith, I feel okay here. Okay, this was I think the Rhinos matchup. I had 2 of those in this league. I won this one, but I lost the second one. Okay, so I had some options here. I decided to go for the Territorial Kavu. Yeah, this was not. Yeah, this is like pretty sad. With Kavu lately playing against Tidebinder, I did not have instant speed removal, except if I decided to go for Pride Spellbomb, which was not like the best play if they go for Rhinos. So I went for Inti to try to find that land. Inti gives me extra look for the land. Yeah, so unfortunately I exiled the Oval Chase Daredevil, which would be pretty sweet to have in my hand here. And yeah, I was able to play another Inti pass the turn. Yeah, that Kavu dying to Tidebinder is just so annoying. Okay. Okay, so this game, I was still in this game very much. I went for Inti here. Opponent counters my Inti ability with Tidebinder, then subtleties my Asmo, but I had another Asmo in my hand, so I was able, didn't care about that one. I just shuffled it away, finding another cookbook. This means next turn I can like Tribal Flames this Tidebinder and then continue doing the Inti cookbook stuff. Okay, opponent goes for Lorien here, draws 3 cards, then suspends the Rhinos. As I said, I went for a Tidebinder there. I decided against doing Inti ability on attack. I put my attack my opponent for 5, put them on 10 life, and so unfortunate this game with this Daredevils. I already exiled 2 Daredevils with Inti ability when I really needed the Daredevil in my hand. Okay, my opponent still doesn't have the Cascade. They just okay. They just went. They just went to kill my Asmo. So here I was able to attack with Inti again, discard the cookbook, then find the Saga and just actually hardcast this Daredevil. This Daredevil is like pretty fine in a situation like this. 4-2 attacker. and my opponent is low on life. Unfortunately, now they resolved their first suspended Rhinos and killed my Saga. Yeah, Saga was my hope here. I got another card from Inti, Tribal Flames there, and I decided to go for Street Wraith, immediately try to find more burn spells, and that strategy paid off. I exiled 2 Tribal Flames, and even if I didn't exile the second one, I got the Lightning Bolt in my hand to finish this, and that was game over. Okay, so let's check out the game 2. Again, trimming bolts. Bolt don't kill the Rhinos, so it is the worst removal I have here. Yeah, so lately some of the Rhino decks play Murktide, some don't. If they have Murktide, I think the Leyline Binding is worth it. If they don't, it's probably not. But I bring in 2 Leyline Bindings. I think I had 4 of them in the sideboard in this league, so I brought in 2, and I decided definitely I want always to bring 2 ley lines when playing in this matchup. You have to be very careful with fetching against a tight binder, so I just decided to wait. This means if my opponent is countering my fetch, they are not playing the Rhinos, so I can live with that. So I decided to do it end of their turn. They don't have the tight binder, so I was able to make my construct. And I got another Saga. So often trimming 2 Street Wraiths when you're playing on the draw. On the plane I'm fine with having 4 of them. On the draw I often cut 2, it feels like too risky against aggressive decks like this one to draw like into 3 Street Wraiths, that is like 6 life. So on the draw I often cut 2 of them, and it worked out fine so far. So I had multiple options here. I decided to go for Inti, trying to find that I went for cycle immediately because I really wanted to play my Asmo on this same turn. Opponent goes for subtlety. I decide to put Asmo on top. It's a great draw for the next turn, so I don't mind drawing that Asmo. And I have another Saga on the field, which works perfectly in this game. I know the Asmo is on top, so that's why I go for the cookbook here. I plan on playing this Asmo anyway, so I get the Asmo into exile, which I can play. I can also make a construct. Pretty good situation here. Okay, so I make another big construct, which is like really relevant in this matchup. I find the Shadow Spear. Also finding a Lightning Bolt was the extra I got here. Didn't really need it, but it was sweet. I can kill this Fury and save the foods to make my construct bigger. Attacking with Inti again, putting my opponent on 8, and I have like really nice situation for next turn. Even if they play the Rhinos, I can kill both of them and deal lethal damage, and opponent concedes. That is the match. So we are done with all the wins, and let's check out the only defeat in this league. It felt so close. I still can't believe I lost that game 3. Okay, let's check it out. Game 1, pretty decent. Despite not having the full domain, my hand is still very playable. Cookbook plus Daredevil are very good together when you can start with this. So this means if you're playing against aggro deck or a Rhino deck, you are going to have a bunch of these foods on the field. This means like a single Asmo anywhere in the mid game and the early game deals with all their board. It's really good. Okay, so Galvanic Blasts are pretty sweet here too. Just a 1 mana killer Rhino is pretty sweet. I have a Street Wraith in my hand, which I was hoping to find the Inti, and then then play it, but I didn't find it, and now I need to find the lands. And drawing into triple tribal flames was not something I wanted in a situation like this when struggling to get a third land, and I did have like 4 draws, didn't find that third land I needed, which put me in unnecessarily puts me into bad situation in a game which I should be like pretty well positioned in. I was able to get the Asmo here, make 4 foods, kill both of their rhinos, pass the turn. So despite having just 2 lands and having some dead flames in my hand, I was still in a decent position here. Opponent goes for Flame of Fener. This is not great, but them not going for rhinos means I get more time to find more lands, and yeah, the 4th tribal flames, yeah, definitely feels unlucky. Getting the 4th flames in situations when I had plenty of turns to top deck. I went through 16 cards in my deck already, not getting that land I needed. And yeah, they had rhinos from suspend, rhinos from hand, and this was lethal for the next turn, and I got another daredevil. Yeah, so even if I got a single land, I could use my tribal flames to kill the rhinos or go for the face, but that's it. I was I think I was like extremely unlucky in games, in trophy games with this Inti strategies lately. I got so lucky in this one loss per league so much. We are going to see the game 3 also. I focused, so I played a bunch of games against Rhino decks lately. They are very, very popular. And I was prepared on their game plan and played around everything, but this was actually first time I saw a Rhino player play the Murktide, and yeah, the opponent was correct to include it. Probably just a one-off, but that one-off got him the game in a situation where like nothing, absolutely nothing else could win it. Okay, so this was game 2, which I played first. I was able to get Saga going, and when you get Saga going against Rhinos, it's a very, very good position to be. Also, like Overchase Daredevil is a great card for the matchup. I already showed my sideboarding plan here. This time I did the mistake and didn't include the Leyline bindings. I thought they were kind of mid against their Rhino plan, but when they go on their second plan, winning without Rhinos, that include Tidebinders, that include Subtleties and Furies, whatever, Murktides, then Leyline binding is extremely good against them. Okay, so I went for Inti here. I play a land and pass the turn. So this means I have Galvanic Blast to kill one of their rhinos. I can use the cookbook to exile card with Inti. I think this is like pretty decent position for me. My opponent had a Force of Figure, which was really, really good, and a Cascade spell to get the rhinos. I didn't have the rhinos hate. I bring in 2 Dranit Magistrate. So 2 Dranit Magistrate goes in, also 2 Engineered Explosives goes in, and usually 2 Leyline Bindings go in. This time I decided against including the Leyline Binding. It was the only time of all the leagues, all the matches I played Rhinos. The only time I decided against a Leyline Binding. I had another deck similar to this one, which I also had bindings on the sideboard and always brought 2 of them in. But between games with that deck and this one, this was like the single time I didn't include them, and I've really paid with the trophy for that. Okay, so opponent goes for Tidebinder here. I kill it immediately with Asmo so it doesn't lose abilities, and my opponent concedes. I have Asmo here making cookbooks, have removal for second Rhino. I guess opponent didn't have much else, and that was the game. So let's check out that game 3. Game 3 was really going good in my favor, and I thought like that's it, game is over. This wasn't actually a trophy match, this was just if when I played the league in an order, this was like only my second match in the league. Okay, so I didn't want them to play ice in my upkeep, so that was the reason why I didn't crack the marsh flats. I cracked them in my main step, losing 3 life, and I decided to go Saga plus Dranit Magistrate. So I also had explosives in my hand. This is basically unlosable, so I never in my life did I lose a game when I had Cascade Hate, Urza Saga and explosives in my hand. Not a single time in my life did I lose a game like this. So I basically have everything. Okay, I will have to be, of course now they have that Time Binder, which is, yeah. This was maybe, but I couldn't really risk them playing a Tide Binder, so I have to use this opportunity to get the Xander Lounge, because Xander Lounge was, I didn't have any more lands in my deck, so I thought like it's better for me to get the Lounge now than to risk not getting land at all, because they can play Tide Binder in response. And I think it was a good decision to do this, because obviously they find the Tide Binder and I will be in a big problem. So I just couldn't prevent them going for Ice my Saga there, not getting the construct. Not getting the construct, I can say it was, not getting the construct, it was key in this matchup. If I got the construct, it would be over. I would have Shadow Spear plus plus big construct attacking with Shadow Spear, that is game over. Yeah, so maybe I could have played slightly better. Okay, so I expected them to try to go for Tide Binder, and I decided to risk it and hope to find a removal in response. I find the Galvanic Blast to kill the Tide Binder, also find the Tribal Flames. They countered my Inti ability, but it was still fine. I had explosives to deal with Rhinos, but my opponent, I didn't really expect this to be honest, so I played a bunch of games against Rhinos and not a single game the player had Murktide in, so I didn't really play around this, didn't really prepare for this, and despite having Dranit Magistrate and the Engineered Explosives and the Shadow Spear and Urza Saga and Inti, I still somehow lost this game. So actually I got the out here. I got the out by having the Daredevil here, attacking for 6 with lifelink, but opponent also had another Flame of Feiner to kill my attacking Daredevil, so that was the match. It was a really close one. Yeah, I think if I didn't crack a fetch at that point, my opponent would maybe be able to Tide Binder my fetch on their turn, so it would maybe end up being even worse for me than just tapping the Saga in response. So yeah, I think I was not able to play around that anyway, so that was it. Really close game, a really cool list which deserved the trophy. Unfortunately missed it by a little, by my opponent's tech, including the Murktide in, probably a one-off if I would have to guess. And yeah, my thoughts about this list was, usually I used only 2 Leyline bindings in most games, sometimes 3 like against Yawgmoth, but I'm definitely considering adding second tier Asunder instead of third binding, and that are all the changes for now. Pretty happy with the rest of the deck, and I think it's really cool. It's like a burn, domain burn, and I think a lot of people thought a lot of times if we could just include Galvanic Blast into domain, and here is a build that can use it pretty efficiently, having Tribal Flames, 2 mana 5 damage, 1 mana 4 damage, and the Lightning Bolts plus Pride Spellbound. That is a lot of burn, and all the creatures we play are very efficient, like 1 mana 3/3, 2 mana 5/5, Inti gaining, providing incredible card advantage, plus Urza Saga. I think this deck makes one very efficient engine. Also, due to 5 colors, we can include a lot of the stuff on the sideboard, like Leyline Binding, obviously pretty nice card to have there, and deals with everything, deals with Scam, deals with Murktide. Unfortunately, this time the correct sideboarding was in that previous Rhinos game, and I should have included my bindings in this one. This way I will have another card to deal with opponent's plan B of not resolving Rhinos, like trying to win with subtleties, time binders, and Murktides. The binding is great there, just instant speed, 1 mana removal for all of these cards, and yeah, unfortunately I didn't include it this time, and that costed me the trophy with this sweet list. And that is it for this time, so thank you for watching. Friendly reminder to click like, click subscribe, tell me in the comments how do you like this list. I think on the first look it can seem pretty weird playing a Saga in a domain deck, but the thing is that the reason why is this list working well is because the mana requirements of this deck are very extremely low. So all the cards basically can play it for red mana, and we only have Kavu in the main that requires green mana. This means like I can play all of my deck even through the Blood Moon, which we saw in one of these games against Scam. And that's it. So on the sideboard, of course, we have Dranit Magistrate and Binding, but that is these are very good hate cards that are very nice to have on the sideboard if you can afford it, and this deck can. So that's it for today. Again, thank you for watching and goodbye.